I just remember him walking up and being like, I think he just said, like, are you guys native or something? Really? And I was like, oh, yeah.
You're my cousin?
Yeah. Where's your dad New Balances?
Oh, oh, you're talking about these bad boys?
Welcome to the War Scouts Basketball Podcast with Mike and Naim. I'm one of your hosts, Naim Cardinal. As always, I'm here with my bro, Michael Swampy, a.k.a. Swampy, a.k.a. Swamp Bro, a.k.a. Swamp Dog.
You're forgetting Swamp Juice.
Swamp Juice, yeah, Swamp Juice. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. I've been corrected. It's not I am doing good. It's I am feeling good, or I'm feeling well.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're feeling well.
Yeah.
Glad you're feeling well. Yeah, I'm feeling well too. Good to see you. Good to be here with you for another episode. We're on episode 4 now. It's pretty cool.
Moving on up.
Moving on up.
We're getting our reps in, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. And before we get started, just want to acknowledge that it's Black History Month. So just want to give a shout out to all of our friends, family within the Black community, and just here to lift each other up and support each other as allies in this community, and just walk alongside each other on this journey.
And by the time you are listening to this, it has passed by now, but happy belated National Day of Women and Girls in Sports. Hugely important for all females playing within sports, and it's always important to recognize our Indigenous females in sports as well.
For sure. Yeah, so last episode was a good one. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I had a blast. Speaking with Kyler and Austin they made it really easy for us as interviewers, because they just went straight into their stories, and we were just sort of able to feed off of that. And we had such a good discussion, and they brought up so many good topics that people can learn from, especially like young ballers going to play at the college level, sort of what the competition is like at that level. And it was interesting hearing Austin talk about the competition aspect. Like, once you're on a team, sure, you're on a team and you all have a goal, but at the same time within that team there's an inner competition for playing time, for minutes. And yeah, it was pretty cool hearing his story.
Yeah, definitely. I really appreciated what both of them had to say. One of the pieces of feedback I got was that they made us look like babies because they got full facial hair, and we're out here no facial hair. So that's one of the things I was reminded of by those who were listening, which I thought was pretty funny, because I'm older than Mike, and I'm also quite a bit older than Kyler and Austin.
I know in episode 2 I said the mustache was making a comeback. Yeah, I might have lied on that part.
Yeah, it's tough being Indigenous and trying to grow facial hair, and it's a struggle for me. I just don't do it.
Yeah.
People,
I made this joke before, and we were talking about how there might be an exact replica of planet Earth and different clones. And I said, yeah, there's probably a replica of a different Mike Swampy out there that can grow hair on his cheeks. Because of that.
It was awesome. I had a lot of fun recording and talking about our old tournament memories. The interview was great. There's just like so many lessons that I took from it, and like things that I wish I heard when I was like going to college and trying out for a basketball team. I just really appreciated what one of the coaches had brought up on not cutting yourself, because I went through that myself, and you always have self-doubt, and especially when you're coming from small communities, having that self-doubt of where your level of basketball playing is at and comparing it to everyone else's. And I talked a little bit about that in the first episode, but I think a lot of that has to do with exposure and being put in those situations where you're playing against better competition, and you're able to even see with your own eyes what better competition looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed, I love just like reminiscing and thinking about all the like tournaments that we played in and stuff, and a lot of those good memories. And one of the things that was brought up to me was by a friend of mine asking about being at that hockey tournament and asking what what that guy said to me when I bumped into him with the Tims. And I had a good laugh with him, and I can't say it on pod, but it's funny. We always laugh when we bring it up.
If I remember correctly, it was a very thick native accent. Something like, oh.
Yeah, it was awesome. We had a good laugh about it. Yeah. And I was just thinking too, like thinking back to those days when we were, still playing in tournaments and stuff, and bringing a lot of like my non-Indigenous friends to tournaments. Like, sometimes you'll go like all native +1 tournaments and bring one of my buddies along who's not Indigenous. And a lot of my friends didn't realize that there are cash prizes for playing in basketball tournaments. And it was just like really eye-opening for them. They were like in like shock and awe that we had a chance to win some money for playing basketball. They were like, how much can we win? And I was like, this is how much you can win. Like it's a thing. Like, yeah. So it was pretty cool going to some of those tournaments with them, and just like bringing them to reserves and just letting them see like what res ball looks like, and meeting all of our buddies and stuff. Is that was always a fun time.
And you're like, you see these roads? We call these cheese grater roads.
Yeah. And would you rather? I'm just kidding. Yeah. And, but yeah, I also want to say thank you to everyone who listens to this podcast. Like so far on our audio apps, like we've had over 150 downloads of our episodes in the last 3 weeks. And yeah, that's just been really amazing to see. Like I didn't think like that many people would want to listen to us, but really appreciated. And the majority of our downloads come from Edmonton. It's probably all of our buddies, but thank you very much for supporting us. But we're also like we're being listened to in provinces all the way across like the country, from BC to Quebec, and we've also had downloads in Washington and in Georgia, and we've also reached worldwide viewers as well, as we have a download in Australia, another one in Saudi Arabia. So maybe we will get on Pitbull's level one day. Who knows?
Maybe we too can be Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty cool. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. So thank you again, everyone. Yeah. So we'll just transition into our starting five for the week. We've been doing starting fives since episode 2, but we want to give listeners an opportunity to share someone who they think should be on our starting five each week. If you know someone who is doing something deadly or someone who just deserves a shout out, please send us a message on our socials and tell us why. We'll include them in our starting five each week. So we'll probably put a little post or something on our Instagram story and just encourage people to send us their shout outs.
Yep. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. We tried to make the handle as easy as possible. So our handle is War Scout Pod on Instagram and on YouTube, and a little bit different on Twitter. I think we use our old basketball War Scouts on Twitter, formerly Twitter, now X. And we're also on Facebook, just War Scouts Basketball on Facebook. So yeah, follow along.
Yeah, check us out.
Feel
free to send us a message. Yeah. So Mike, who do you have this week for your starting five?
For my starting five, in spot 1, I have Sterling Peterson. He was just recently speaking at the Climate Change Conference in Dubai, and I believe it is organization that's called Indigenous Environment Network. They had posted an image of Sterling speaking, and it was a reel, and the caption was, Sterling Peterson reminds us of the importance of reestablishing our relationships and connections with our relatives, elders, the land, and our teachings. Indigenous youth bring a diverse and important perspective to fight to protect Mother Earth. And Sterling is, I believe he's Blackfoot and...
Similkameen. It's from the Similkameen community.
Yeah, and both Namer and I have had a chance to play basketball or are against him in basketball, and he's a phenomenal athlete. Shout out to Sterling, you're doing an awesome job. My second spot goes to Raequan Battle from Tulalip Indian Reservation. Raequan Battle is currently playing at West Virginia for the Mountaineers, and at one point he was averaging 30 points per game in his first 2 games of the season. He also just recently led the Mountaineers to a huge win over number 4 ranked Kansas. On Twitter, people were making jokes calling him "Never Swing the Rock Battle" because he was averaging less than 1 assist per game.
Yeah, dude's a scorer. What
Yeah,
what else should he be doing out there? He puts the ball in the hoop. Shout out to
that's right.
Raequan. And if you're not familiar with his story, just give it a look. Maybe give him a little Google. He recently transferred in from Montana State. And he was there I think he was there for 2 years. Prior to that, he was at University of Washington, but he went into this huge battle with the NCAA about transfer waivers. There's a rule within the NCAA for transfers. If you have not earned a degree within your two schools that you attended, you'd have to sit out a year before playing immediately. But he applied for a waiver due to mental health reasons, and the NCAA was denying him for a long time. And he went through this court battle with them until they approved his waiver, and he got to play at West Virginia this year. And it was a big story, and Jay Billis was actually backing him up on that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome story. And keep shooting that thing. Shoot that
That's
thing,
right.
Raequan.
Yeah.
My small forward position, spot 3, goes out to people who are asking for merch. I have an answer for you in 2 parts. First part is we're hoping to have merch soon. We're just kind of ironing out the kinks as to how that kind of works. And also that Namer and myself are not designers. We are not creative directors in any sense. But that's where my next shout out comes in. My next shout out goes to the power forward, Jacob Alexis. So Jacob has actually designed our War Scouts logo, and he's also done awesome work with Indigenous rookie cards and the Upper Deck hockey cards pack. And he developed the actual logo for that. And he's done a tremendous amount of work for other companies and sports teams. So he's done Team Alberta NAG U14, U16 basketball. He's developed a Every Child's Matter uniform for the Calgary Hitmen, and he's also done he redesigned the Calgary Flames logo to represent Treaty 7's Indigenous culture. So he's done a lot of amazing work. If you get a chance, follow him. His Instagram for his business is at Tribe Life Originals, and that's with the Z at the end. Again, Tribe Life Originals on Instagram and Facebook. And we'll also include his handle in our description below on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. Shout out Jake. We're chatting him up today because we're discussing logos for the podcast.
Definitely going to bring him on at some point.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And then my starting center, spot 5, goes to our 2 5-star reviews that we received on Apple Podcast. But I just picked the 5-star review, and it's from Murray. Shout out Murray. He added with the review, "Great work. Nice to hear your stories and background. And to ever contact him if we need any volleyball drills or games." I'm assuming he was referring to us in our coaching volleyball days. And for us to check out the After the Bell podcast. So shout out Murray and the After the Bell podcast. Hi, ish magwech masi cho.
Yeah, thank you for the 5-star review coming from Swampy's friend. Just kidding.
He started out, "Hello, Swampy and friend."
Oh, I had a good laugh at that when I saw that. All right, I guess it's my turn. My first shout out this week and my starting 5 goes to all the ladies in sport. Keep doing what you're doing. There's so many ladies out there doing amazing things, making impacts out there. We appreciate you so much. And I especially want to give a shout out to my daughter, Amelia, who's in swimming lessons, synchronized swimming and gymnastics. It's a lot to juggle for a 7-year-old. And during the summer, she plays outdoor soccer in the sweltering heat of the Okanagan. Very proud of you. I love you. And second shout out goes to Tahnee Robinson. Tahnee is a former University of Nevada basketball player. She was also a graduate assistant coach with the team for some time. Played pro basketball for a number of years, and she was also drafted in the 3rd round of the 2011 WNBA draft. She just had her birthday on February 2nd, and we want to wish her a happy birthday. Tahnee is currently teaching middle school and coaching basketball, and we love connecting with ballers turned teachers and love giving them a shout out. My third shout out goes to Alyssa Pillay, who's Inupiaq and Native Hawaiian. Alyssa is a forward with the Utah Utes women basketball team and is currently averaging 22.4 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, 2.5 assists per game, a steal, and a block per game. Utah is currently 17-6, so 17 wins, 6 losses, and they're ranked number 20 in the AP Top 25 poll. Earlier this season, I got to watch her play on TV, and she's just unreal. She dropped 37 points on South Carolina Gamecocks, who are the number 1 ranked team in the country. She was 15 for 23 from the field, and 3 for 6 from the 3-point line. She's just unreal. Love watching her play. Love watching her highlights. And then in the 4th spot, got Chris Mooney, killing it in the Legacy League in Edmonton, and was a Player of the Week nominee for this current week. Almost had a triple-double last week with 18 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1 steal. We always see Chris at Native tourneys, and he always shows out. Chris previously played at Algonquin College and was a 2nd-team all-conference player there. He then played at MacEwan University and later at NAIT. My last shout out in the 5 spot goes to my friend Russell Wilms, who's the athletic director at Providence College in Manitoba. Just been a great supporter of the podcast. He's just a great ally to Indigenous people. I love being his friend, just like very kind and thoughtful person. He let me know that he shared the podcast with some members of the men's basketball team at Providence College who are now following us on Instagram. So thank you for the support, Russell.
So now we have to be fans of Providence College. There we go.
That's right. Been a Providence College fan since day one.
Providence all the way. That's what I believe in.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Now into the world of basketball. So in the world of basketball, we have NABI. NABI is a massive tournament that takes place in the United States in Phoenix, Arizona. NABI partners with Grand Canyon University and has partnered with them for the last 20 years. NABI stands for the Native American Basketball Invitational Tournament and has been hosted by multiple gyms throughout the city of Phoenix. All games will now be held at GCU campus over their 13 basketball courts. Wow, I never realized how many courts they have.
I didn't know that either.
If you haven't been to NABI tournament, we highly recommend you do so. We attended it with our Muscatine Basketball Club back in 2010 and 2011, and it was an amazing time. We had a great squad, so many good memories, but we'll save the stories for another day.
That's right. Story time for later. We've got to keep you coming back. We can't tell you all our stories at once.
Right. That's right. But I will say one time. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But I will say, Grand Canyon University tried to recruit this man right here. This man right here. The one next to me on camera.
Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, he's pointing at the wall. No.
Yeah. Can't see him. But yeah.
He's our producer in the back.
Yeah. So if you have any news to share with us, please let us know. If you know an Indigenous ball player who's doing big things, we'd love to share their news here on our podcast with everyone who listens. As well, if you know of a tournament or if you're hosting a tournament, please send us the information and we'll share it on our podcast. And just want to send an invitation out to tournament organizers. If you want to come on our pod for 10, 15 minutes and just talk about your tournament, how your tournament got started, share some of that history, and just share what you're all about. We would love to have you on here as a guest and just give you the opportunity to share that information with people.
Absolutely. That's one thing our podcast aims to do, is be an outlet for those sorts of things. And we intend on bringing Indigenous basketball to the forefront, and one of the best ways to do that is advertising for Indigenous basketball. So absolutely.
Well, it's time for our interview with Megan Tipler.
Have a good day, everyone.
Finito.
Finito.
Okay, we are now here for our interview with Megan Tipler. I'll just give you a little bit of a bio of Megan so you can get to know her a little better. Megan Tipler is a Métis educator from Misquachie with a diverse teaching background, working alongside junior high, senior high, and post-secondary students in Earl. Okay, I gotta redo that. Sorry.
We're on a time crunch here, man. Come on.
I know.
We were just talking about editing. We can edit. We have the power.
Yeah. Okay. Megan Tipler. Okay. Okay. This never usually happens, Megan, just so you know. Megan
We're
Tipler is a
professionals.
Métis. Yep.
Sorry.
Megan Tipler's here. It's fine. Just
Yes, Megan Tipler is here. Okay. Megan Tipler is a Métis educator from Misquachie with a diverse teaching background, working alongside junior high, senior high, and post-secondary students in urban and rural settings. She returned to the University of Alberta in 2021 to work with the Alberta Teacher Education Program, supporting Indigenous pre-service teachers. In 2023, she shifted to working as an Indigenous Strategies Manager in the Provost's office. Megan has recently accepted a new role as Associate Vice President Indigenous position at the University of Northern British Columbia. In addition to her professional endeavors, she is pursuing a PhD focusing on the role of kahkiyaw and Métis academic aunties in education, drawing inspiration from her personal experiences as a teacher, older sister, and auntie. Beyond her academic and professional commitments, Megan is deeply passionate about basketball, not just as a fan, but as a former player and coach. She has experienced coaching at the community, club, and school levels. Her enthusiasm for the game extends well beyond that. Basketball has played a crucial role in her own life, and she hopes to continue igniting the same enthusiasm and love in sport for the next generation. So we're really happy to have Megan here. The Indigenous community and even the basketball community are small. So Megan, Mike, and I have been connected in numerous ways over the years, even before we even formally knew each other. Just to give you a little background, Megan's auntie worked in Tall Creek First Nation, which is my home community, where she was principal at the school and worked with my mom. And while they were in high school, Mike and Megan were playing high school basketball at neighboring schools. So Mike was at Jasper Place, Megan was at St. FX, mortal enemies from the beginning, but they put that all behind them. Then later, Megan played co-ed basketball with Jandra, Mike's wife, in the Edmonton Sport and Social Club. And then while we were coaching at the Misquachie Academy, that is when we formally met Megan. Mike, Dakota, and I had taken a group of students from the Misquachie from the high school boys basketball team to a Golden Bears basketball game. And we ran into Megan there. Megan and her partner were there with the team that they were coaching. And I saw their sweaters, and I thought, I saw where they're from, and I was like, they're from near where I'm from. I want to go talk to them. So went over to talk to them. We had a lot of extra tickets. Like, it was just the three of us plus like 6 boys from our team. That was like every player from our team too, by the way. And we ran into Megan there, and we offered up our tickets, our extra tickets, so that they didn't have to spend their money on the game. We didn't want them to go to waste, and we thought they were going to a good place. And it was really good to meet Megan there and to finally formally connect the three of us. So it's great to have you here, Megan.
Thanks. And also, I did play against you guys in co-ed too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Because I remember Mike was kind of a ringer, because I think he still would have been playing college, but he would come back and play in the spring and summer, and you guys would light it up against a bunch of old people.
Yeah. Hey, we got to do what we got to do to make ourselves feel better about ourselves, right?
Yeah. You gotta get cardio in somehow.
Yeah, exactly. That's training. That's training for Mike. Megan, I told Melanie you were coming on the podcast, and she was like, "Don't say anything that will embarrass the family." So I'll try my best.
Oh.
All right. Well, it's great to have you here.
Funny.
Thanks for having me. I love that you guys are doing this. It's so funny. Even in the last couple of weeks, like, I mentioned this podcast to a few different people, and it's like, opened up some really cool conversations. Like, so Abby Ross, like Alan's daughter, I've known her since we were really young. Like, I think we played with and against each other from like the time we were like 10. And hearing his name mentioned a few times on the pod, like I reached out to her, and like I just have like a greater appreciation for some of the stuff he did that I didn't like, you know, you don't recognize that when you're like 18, 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just talking to somebody who's from Prince Rupert, and she was like, I was telling her about the podcast, and she's like, yeah, the all native basketball tournament's coming up, and she's telling me about like documentary and stuff. So yeah, I'm just like, I feel really honored that you guys invited me.
Well, we're honored to have you.
Our first female guest.
Woo!
Hopefully not happened to be an academic auntie.
Yes.
So Megan, just fill in our listeners about your basketball journey here, and sort of just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so was born in Edmonton, but my maternal and both my maternal grandparents are connected to Michelle Band. My grandma was born in Marlborough Métis settlement between Hinton and Edson area, which is kind of cool because as I'm driving to Prince George back and forth for this new job, I've been able to stop there a few times and just visit some of my relatives, visit her grave and things like that. So it's been nice. But yeah, I grew up in the city, went to city schools, started playing basketball because my mom wouldn't let me play hockey. That was actually, I remember we went to they used to have the registration nights at like the hockey rink for all the sports, like the community league sports. And I really wanted to play hockey. And I can't remember if they didn't have a girls team at that time. And so she said, you can play ringette or basketball. And I didn't want to play ringette. No offense to ringette players. I was 9, so no judgment. But I was like, fine, I'll play basketball. And yeah, I guess that's where I was meant to end up because I love basketball. Played all through junior high and high school. Like you mentioned, I was around the same street as Mike. He's a year younger than me. And I remember watching you guys. Like, it's really funny because I love playing basketball, but I think I've always been like a fan. I like, you know, the backstory to things. And so Mike was there, but then like Almond was like in the South, and like there's kind of these like, it was kind of cool that there was like just two like really talented high school basketball players that were native kind of going at it. And I don't know if you guys remember Hoop Life Forum Motion, the website. I was all in on that. Like I loved reading the posts and like knowing what was going on and like the other zones and like watching any tournament I could watch on YouTube. So I feel like I'm still like that, and that's probably why my husband and I are like so tight, because he's the same way. Like sometimes we'll just be watching like high school basketball on our weekends, and yeah, we just both love coaching and playing. And when I finished high school, I like immediately started coaching. I would have loved to have played college. I don't know if I was talented enough, but I also wasn't like a financial option for me, so it wasn't really something I could explore. So next best thing was like coaching. And then my coaching kind of just followed my teaching career. Like the places I moved to, I coached. So I was in like Gift Lake. That's the team that Naim was talking about. And that team is like probably the team that most impacted my husband and I. Like between the two of us, we've coached, a lot. And that's a team that I think both of us just reflect back on and how much they taught us. I think the kids there gave me a lot of perspective that I was lacking early in my teaching career. And also the educators there, like a lot of the staff at that school were from the community. So it was just nice to see, like, I don't know, when the school is the community and the community is the school, right? Like we had, our gyms were packed because there was nothing else to do. So it was like awesome. And people would travel to our games, even though they're an hour away. And like, it was just like a full, I don't know, team effort. Like we had one of the teacher librarian, she like would wash the kids' uniforms, and she'd help me cook food for them for the road trips, and like run the like other teachers helped run the concession to get us to the tournaments, like to get to that tournament in Edmonton. That was a battle. Yeah. And so I just kept coaching. And then when I moved back to Edmonton, was at H.E. Burial Junior High, which is on the West End, and then was also assistant coaching at FX with the boys program, which was pretty cool. And I stopped coaching during COVID, and it's probably the thing I missed the most. Like, Dwayne asked me one time, I remember, he was like, what do you do to relax? And I was like, I actually think I coach to relax. Like, it is relaxing. And I missed that. We're already talking about, once we move to Prince George, like how we can get involved in coaching here and like contributing to community in that way. That's a quick and dirty of basketball journey.
No, thank you so much. I think I miss coaching a lot too, and I definitely relate to you there. Like, I moved here in Kelowna, and yeah, I was. It was in the middle of the school year when I moved here, and then COVID hit. And I always thought about getting back into coaching, and I'm just like you, like coaching, like provided a lot of fulfillment, and also like I think it relaxed me too. So that really good connection there, and it's so good to have another hoophead here with us to just chat basketball with us. Like, we love that. We also love having hoopers turned teachers. So it's great that you're here. And you talked a little bit about your educational journey. What made you decide to become a teacher? Like, when you were done high school, like what made you want to be a teacher and give back in that way?
I don't remember, honestly. Like, it feels like it was just like the choice. Like, I remember being in grade 11 or 12 and being like teaching just seemed like the really obvious thing. And I don't know if that's because like the people around me that I admired were teachers and coaches. And so, there was like a desire to emulate that and contribute that. But I think like a lot of my gifts lend themselves to teaching, like just that, like socializing and like the ability to kind of like work with diverse groups of people. And yeah, like I love learning, I love reading. And so I never really considered anything else. Like, now that I'm older, I'm like, oh man, there were so many more career options I could have pursued, but I'm glad that I went with teaching, because I think it's like one of the most like malleable professions. Like, your ability to kind of like take on other things and your adaptability, and like that comes in with coaching too. Like, you just have to be able to, react on the fly and like not lose your cool and just kind of go with the flow. And those are skills that have just served me really well in like my academic and professional lives, than just being able to like make those shifts and keep things together.
Staying on the topic of coaching, I just want you to maybe touch a little bit more about how, like, sports in general, how have you seen it impact youth in terms of like their education, and sort of how has that been a rewarding experience for yourself as well?
Yeah, like, so on a personal level, like I think I was a really angry kid. Not anybody's fault. I just, was an emotional kid and processing some things, and sports were kind of a reprieve, right? Like, that's where I just was able to be. Like, you're just in the game and you're focused on that, and everything else kind of dissipates. And that was also like the one thing, my parents would ground me or punish me or whatever. They never took away basketball. Like, they knew that was like the thing keeping me sane. And for the kids I've coached, I think, I don't know, like, you want them to feel joy, right? Like people have had bad experiences in school, and like I don't love the like punitive approach sometimes to like trying to keep kids away from sport and activity. I think there's ways to teach kids accountability and respect within sport, and not punish them for their academic, missteps and things like that. So I really appreciate the connection that sport offers for like bringing kids back into the school and having that be a place that they like want to be. That sense of community and purpose, I think, is huge. Just, giving them an opportunity to show their character. Like, I remember we went to a game. I can't even remember where we were going, but we were going from Gift Lake, and it was somewhere like an hour and a half away. And all the kids had like independently decided they were going to wear like shirts and ties. And like, here's the older kids like showing them how to tie the ties. And like, I don't know, I was so proud of them. Like, that wasn't something that I instigated. It was because they like felt respect for each other and for the team and for the sport that they decided to do that. And there were so many moments like that where they just showed up for each other. And like, I don't know, I always am more impressed by like what kids teach me than what I can teach them. Like, there's a lot that goes beyond the X's and O's of the basketball game. And how you conduct yourself with them and model that. Like, I don't really love the coaches who are kind of win at all costs and like berating kids, treating kids like assets that can be, you know, thrown away or disregarded. And so I think that comes into too, like the way we teach, like that holistic approach to teaching also comes into coaching, respecting who they are and the circumstances of their life wholesale. But that moment with the Naim talked about with the tickets, I want to just talk about that really quick, because so that whole thing is like, to me kind of embodies like the importance of sport. Like, so we had this really awesome team and they ended up winning. So the junior high had 40 kids, male, like boys, girls, everything, like 40 kids, and 10 of them were on that basketball team. And so basically if you tried out, you're on the team. And you
got 25% of the school playing.
We unfortunately didn't have a girls team because there wasn't enough interest. So that boys team, like I said, they're really well supported and they're really good. Like Andrew and I will talk about that a lot. Like that we gave them like the systems to be successful, but the skills were already there. And those kids hustle. Like you guys talk about like res ball and some of your other podcast episodes already. And like, that's what I felt like. We were just trying to like harness that into like maximum output within the system. So yeah, they did the work, but we had this really, really good team and we were like trying to get to a tournament in Edmonton, and it's expensive. The bus is expensive. The hotels are expensive. Everything's expensive. But some of the aunties and moms in the community were like all in, like they were like on council and like bugging them like to, you know, make a donation. And we had some external donations made as well. So Andrew and I had put up like just a call on Facebook. Like we had several kids who had like, you know, holes in their shoes and just didn't have like basic gear. Like they're in like board shorts or like, and so we're like, hey, let's figure out a way to get them. Like we're going to make them look good, feel good, like as good as they're playing. And so with those donations, we were able to get a pair of shoes for every kid, a water bottle for every kid, and those like reversible like Adidas practice jerseys for every kid. They were pumped. Like I think I still have the video on my Facebook somewhere like of them opening it. And it's like, these are kids that like never stop talking. Like the first minute of the video, but as I'm trying to like quiet them down to like open the bags and they won't stop talking. And then when they open it, it's just like dead silent because they didn't even realize like how many people cared about them. And like they wrote all the thank you cards to all the people who had like donated. But yeah, we were able to get enough money to get to Edmonton if we left the same day as the game. So we left at like 6 a.m. I think we played at like 3 p.m. or something. So literally the kids like walked off the bus, walked into Jasper Place, which is massive. Like the foyer is the size of the junior high wing in Gift Lake. And we get to the gym and they play their butts off. We lost to like one of the best junior high teams in Edmonton at the time by like 4 points. Wow. And they were just pumped to be there. And it was funny because we'd ordered these sweaters. My parents had helped pick them up. And so I was like, okay, we're going to give them to them after the game. And so I was like, oh, we have a gift for you guys, like from like with the leftover money, like this is what we were able to get. And one of the kids is like, Ma, if you'd given us these sweaters before the game, we might have won.
And he's right.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, fuck, you're probably right. But they love those sweaters. Like they all had their names on them. And then, so we wore them. We decided to go to the Bears game that night. And that's where we saw Naim. Yeah, I just remember him walking up and being like, I think he just said like, are you guys native or something? Really? And I was like, oh yeah.
You're my cousin?
Yeah. And you're just like, oh, I got tickets for you guys, and you gave them to us. And like, I just remember thinking like, that's love. Like, you know, like that ability to kind of like reach back and like provide for the next generation of athletes. And it probably meant like, you didn't think twice about it, but like, it was so impactful. And even just being able to be there. Like, I remember the couple kids being like, oh, I'm going to come here one day. And like, even if they didn't end up going to the U of A, it was just the fact that like in that moment, the possibility of like post-secondary studies and post-secondary sport was like a possibility. And so that's what I think sport provides, is it's just another one, it's another pathway for kids to be successful. But I think it's also like the community aspect of it, that, you know, there's more people supporting you and looking out for you than you realize. And like, that's how I feel when I think of you two as well. Like I do remember cheering on Mike, even though he was the enemy. And I went to, you know, like I went to provincials that year and watched when you guys lost. I'll just rub it in.
Yeah.
Still a little bit of enemies, you know, but yeah, like I went down south to like watch those games. Like I said, I just loved basketball, and I had lots of guys that I was friends with that were still on that FX team, and like ended up coaching with Nathaniel, who was, I think he's your age, who played at FX, and Concordia. And so yeah, just like all these like kind of connections that came back that I wasn't necessarily like expecting, or like that relationship with Jeremy Posterero at FX, like, because I was coaching boys in junior high, and I asked him if I could help coach club with WEBA and then eventually with FX. And I remember we had a conversation about like if it bugged him that I was, not bugged him, but I was like, is it an issue that I'm like a woman? Because it's like only ever been, you know, dudes who have coached. And he was like, he basically said, I don't give a shit as long as you know basketball. And I appreciated that, because that's all I wanted to. I just wanted to coach. And like I had kids that I was coaching at HE that were going to FX. And so I had a few kids I coached for like 4 or 5 years, and it's just, yeah, it was wicked. And so that's kind of how I see the impact, is like, it's not just the impact on the youth, although that's like the most important thing. It's the impact on community and like maintaining some of those relationships and those bonds. And yeah, I'll stop there. I'm just rambling now.
No, it's all good.
All good.
I just want to ask a quick question, because the coach at that time at FX, and I spoke to this on episode 1 with Stanjo at JP, Stanjo being a really intense coach. Yeah. But the coach at FX was also really intense as well. Did you take any of that intensity to your coaching at all?
I not that level.
Yeah.
I'm loud. I won't deny that. I actually think it's really funny because like in our day-to-day life, I'm a very passionate person, and my husband's like pretty laid back. But when we coached basketball, he was always like the one that I was like, calm down, frick, like sit down. Or I'd be, because we only coached together one time. We mostly actually coached against each other. And so sometimes I'd be like watching his games and I'd be like, relax, like you're stressing out your kids. Like, but I think he's a way better coach than I am. Like, but it's funny, he works for Rick now at JP, or at Shep, sorry, not JP.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
Really, really small world.
Yeah, that's funny, because when I first started teaching out here in Musquecheese, I tried to emulate sort of what Stanley was doing, and it did not work whatsoever. It was like this, just like fighting fire with fire. And then slowly, like after my second year, I realized, you know, a lot of these kids on the reserve, they probably have people yelling at them at their own homes, and why would they come and play basketball and have me yell at them, right? And so I learned pretty quick.
I had a similar moment when we were in Gift, because I remember I was like, so I was really on the kids about like punctuality and like communication. And this kid who's one of our best players, he missed practice. And like our rule at the time was like, if you missed practice, then you sat the next game. And I was like, where were you? Like, and so I'm kind of giving it to him, right? Like, where were you? Like, and he's like, I was hauling wood for my grandpa. And and I was like, okay, never mind, my bad. Like, you do that first. Like, so yeah, I think of those moments and just like not being so quick to judge, right? Like you learn and that. But it's funny because were you talking about Naim coaching you and how you wanted him to yell at you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I said, Naim, you got to yell at us to bring the best out of us.
Yeah.
See, he knew better.
Yeah. Yeah. Tried it. Wasn't for me. Little Chiefs reference there. Yeah. Yeah, I really love that message that you shared with us, Megan, about your experiences, especially working up in Gift Lake. And I think that you two were doing amazing work up there, and your husband's a pretty big deal in the volleyball coaching world too. Just recently won a provincial championship with Ross Shepherd this past season, right?
He lost.
Oh, he lost? Oh, sorry. We'll edit that out. But
that's okay.
Yeah, you're both doing you're both doing amazing work with your coaching, and I think that the message that you shared about like the kids teach us so much more than we think we teach them is something that we can take with us. And I know Mike and I, from our experiences, have learned so much. And Mike just spoke to that a little bit, but something we want to get into next is you're a pretty big deal on social media. Or the last few years, you've become quite well known, and you're an influencer in the world of education on Instagram. So we're just wondering, how did that happen, and like, what's it been like being like a big social media influencer with like over 35,000 followers?
Well, you tell us, Mr. Hockey Cards.
Hey, I got like 2% of what you got.
You're getting up there. I don't know. I like it. It happened really organically. So it's so funny because like my handle's Tipler Teaches, right? And I made that account to actually like communicate with kids. Like it was like to post like homeroom reminders, like bring your permission form, or like what, like basketball game coming up, like kind of thing. And at some point I ended up making like a school Instagram account and just kind of like transitioned to that. And so then I was mostly posting books. And there's like a pretty active like, teacher grammar, bookstagrammar or whatever community. And so gained a little bit of traction that way, but wasn't like really looking to be on social media like that. And then during COVID, I got an iPad and I started doing like illustrations, like just to keep myself busy. I had a really hard time like with mental health, like being trapped in the house. And so I just needed something to distract myself. And so I started doing these drawings of like Indigenous athletes and authors and artists and things like that, and just posting them and kind of like shouting people out. And it blew up a little bit. And then I started posting like informational things, like, and you two have probably experienced this as well, but like when you're getting asked the same questions over and over again, and like you just have like a running list of responses. So that's kind of what it was like, okay, I'm just going to post these things that like I'm always talking about, and then I can just share the post with people. Or like I was teaching English language arts, so I would get a lot of questions about like books and like assignments for like literacy and things like that. And so started sharing some of that information, and yeah, it just kind of blew up from there. I don't think I have any aspirations to be an influencer. I definitely took a step back when I returned to school, but I think the like desire to kind of like highlight Indigenous issues and Indigenous people is still there, and being responsive to kind of some of what's unfolding in society still. That thing I've been thinking about a lot lately is like women's sports, like Indigenous women in particular, but just women's sports in general. Like I would love to do another like illustration or series or something around that, because with the women's professional hockey league starting, like I just think that I had a good cry when they did the puck drop, because yeah, it was just like really impactful. Like the WNBA started when I was a kid, and so like seeing all these little girls at the hockey game with their signs, and like again, like just opening up possibilities, right? But like even in the WNBA, I think there's only been like 3 or 4 Native women who have made it to that level. And again, just being a fan, I want to see that number grow. So
we've heard you're quite the sneakerhead, Megan. What are your top 5 favorite shoes of all time?
So I'm a bad sneakerhead, because like some people collect just to collect. I just buy what I like what I think I want to wear. I want to wear the shoes. So I don't have like, I'm not like all in on like, this like specific release of Jordans or anything like that, but I do have some pretty cool kicks just because, well, it started because I have size 12 feet, And so when I was like young, I could never get cool shoes. Like I always had like I had to buy men's shoes, and they were like the basic like white shoes. And so now that I'm older and there's more availability of sneakers, that's kind of like what inspired those that purchasing decisions, I'll say. So I have 5 that I picked. They're not in any particular order, but they're just ones that I like. So I'll start with the KD Ant Pearls.
Oh, you even got them.
Oh,
that's a nice.
So caveat before, for the people who are listening on the podcast, Megan is showing the shoes. So head over to YouTube and look at our YouTube.
That's a good call to check out the vodcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's closest to me? Okay, then I also have these ones. I just like them again because they're colorful. They're like a limited release because they do like the Be True collection for Pride Month. So Ally, but also I just really like sneakers. These ones are from the like recent N7 release. So which they don't sell in Canada. So it's annoying as like an Indigenous person in Canada. You have to get them on resale sites. You can see they're dirty because I actually wear them. But yeah, those are new ones. They got a little embroidered floral.
They have like the floral design on them. They have like the floral design on them. Yeah. Yeah, I tried to buy N7. I could not. You have to go to the States.
Yeah.
Well, and half their models are like Canadian, like they're Indigenous people from nations that are in what we call Canada. So I'm like, what the heck? You don't even release it here.
Yeah.
These ones there's Converse, but they're beaded.
Whoa.
Converse.
Oh, that's cool.
So
did you bead those yourself?
As if. I have big hands and bad eyes and no patience. So I think it's Spotted Elk Collective is the name of the people who do it. They're like kind of well known for doing beaded sneakers. So
okay, Spotted Elk Collective.
And then the last ones are the shoes that my husband proposed to me with. So he got these custom Kobe's, and they say, "Will you marry me?" on the inside. So those have to be number 1, right?
Yes,
definitely.
But
those are awesome.
He's always like, because I can't wear them because I'm like, these are the only shoes I don't really wear. And he's like, if I'd known you weren't going to wear them, I would have got the kid size ones. It would have been cheaper. So yeah, that'll be my top 5. That was 5, right? I can count.
Yeah,
that was totally.
Those are awesome. Thank you so much.
I got the Columbia winter boots. They are
yeah, there you go.
A little off brand.
Where's your dad New Balances?
Oh, you can't see them.
Oh,
but I have them on. Oh, you're talking about these bad boys?
That's how you know you're getting old, when you're over 30 and you have to get like the extra cushion shoes. I just bought my first pair of walking shoes and I was like, there's nothing more humbling than the walking shoe section.
I literally Googled what the best shoe for the long-term longevity is, what the best one is for. Yeah, it was New Balance. Yeah. Okay, so we have a little game for you, Megan. We have a little rapid fire. Would you rather? You've listened to the pod before, but I'll describe the game. The game is relatively simple. Your only objective is to choose the best out of the worst following options. You're going to have 4 options. I will preface this because we are an Indigenous podcast. We have a little twist. Each option is something that we've all definitely experienced playing res ball or at native basketball tournaments. And each option is something you experience every single time you play basketball. So you're stuck with this. All ready? Option number 1. The floors are slippery or dirty. Option number 2, there's no nets on the hoops.
Ooh.
Option number 3, the team jerseys are far too tight. I would say skin tight. And then option number 4, 8 a.m. game times.
Ooh. Okay, well, I'm chubby, so like hard pass on the tight jerseys. That's a hard no. What was the first one?
First one was floors are slippery / dirty.
Yeah, that's off.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah, But my bones are getting fragile. I didn't think you guys were gonna change it up. I was like all in on the no soap and paper towel. I was like, this is the obvious choice. Bring hand sanitizer. So now I feel underprepared. I'm like, oh God, I haven't thought about this. I would probably say no mesh.
No mesh. No nets for the hoops.
Because it's a game. Like if you're at a park and there's no mesh, it always sucks because you got to rebound for yourself. But if it's like a game, like you might not get some like friendly roll-ins, but out of those 4 options, I think I'd take no mesh.
It's funny that you mentioned no soap or paper towel, because me and Naim are gonna have a running gag and just have that as an option all the time, and just see what it compares to with all our other options. But we decided to switch it up. Namer, what do you think?
I'm going with the jerseys are far too tight, but
just has a skinny athletic bod. Name does.
Yeah.
Svelte.
Just wants to show off the pecs. This guy.
Oh yeah. There we go.
One more thing, we did poll the people, and the people have said. Only 7% of people voted for floors are slippery. 6% voted for no nets on the hoop.
Oh.
So those 2 have been the worst options.
Interesting.
Right now. Yeah. 31% team jerseys too tight. And then 56% 8 a.m. games. Those
are all the skinny people. That 31%. Yeah. I would say I would have picked 8 a.m. games, but anyone who knows me knows I'm not. I'm probably going to bed at 8 a.m. I'm a night owl. So that would just be, I'd be late for every single game. So that's why I'm selfishly picking no mesh.
I think I picked 8 a.m. games as well.
Ugh.
Not for me. 8 a.m. games, nope. Takes a while for this old body to get warm.
That's fair. Can I say one last thing?
Of course.
Just that I'm proud of you guys. I think it's like really cool to see how you're evolving in your like professional and personal lives. And like what I was talking about with the kids, like there's more people kind of like watching you and cheering you on than you probably realize. And like I know like Mike and I were able to cry. I'm gonna cry, frick. How proud I am. But yeah, like I know Mike and I were able to cross the stage together, and it was like really cool moment. We're almost back to back, the S&T, and I remember there was a few other graduate students with us that were Indigenous. Like we all just happened to be really close together in name, so we walked the stage really close together. And Dwayne was there, and I remember he made a comment afterwards, just that like it was cool to see like that many Indigenous graduate students like together, and that things are changing. And even like some of the ATEP students I was able to work with that were from Musquecheese that like had really good things to say about Mike and like what he's doing in community. And Naim, I just have a lot of appreciation for you. And you're very old soul, like gentle person. And I always tell people that like you always seem to have the perfect message at the perfect time, because there's been times where I've like struggled with something that's like happened, whether it's on social media or just like in personal life, and like you'll just send like a text or a voice message or something that's like really kind and like compassionate, and it's always like, and then it'll make me cry more, but always really appreciated. And I remember like for the research project we're on, like Dwayne said something about like not teasing you too much, because he's like, you know, Dwayne, like Naim's got a really like good heart. Like you can't tease him too much. I tease him too much, but I always am like, am I being mean to you? He's like, no, I have 3 older brothers. I'm used to it. But like, I'm just really grateful for kind of the ways that we found our way back into each other's lives. And I'll always be kind of cheering you guys on and what you're doing. And I love watching you even become dads. Like, I think that's so awesome. So thank you.
No, thank you. I'm just very honored that you would share that with us, and yeah, I'm really touched, and yeah, I'm trying not to cry too, but yeah, thanks so much, Megan. It's great to have you with us. Really appreciate your kind words.
Yes, thank you, Megan. Really appreciate it. Loved having you on here. We'll see each other soon.
Yes, I hope so.
Yes.
Are we
Thanks,
actually?
everyone.
Hey, we're signing off.
We're signing off.
We'll end the recording.